Do you want to make your life a lot easier in this course? If so, I would recommend that you learn how to manipulate the time value of money equation. Now, even when you are taking a test, if you have trouble remembering a formula, you can manipulate the one that you can remember and go on from there. And everything is really tied to a single equation. Now, the first form of the equation we learn is future value is equal to present value times 1 plus r raised to the nth. Now right there, the future value variable is isolated and we can solve for future value. But what if we wanted to solve for the present value? How would we move it around? Well, we start with our original formula, FV equals PV times 1 plus r raised to the nth. And then we're going to divide both sides by 1 plus r raised to the nth, and that will leave us with FV divided by 1 plus r raised to the nth equals present value. Now the book reflects the formula here as PV equals FV times 1 over 1 plus r to the n. Okay? But if you multiply through the future value, ultimately you end up with FV, future value, divided by 1 plus r raised to the nth. Now, to check it, we can look back to example 3.2 and take the future value, remember Donna and the savings bond, $500, and divide it by 1 plus r, which was, I think, 1.04% for 20 years. And if we do that with our calculator, I'm clearing it, we end up with $228.19. And if you'll recall, that was the exact answer from example 3.2. So what if we were looking to solve for the rate? Well, again, let's go back to the original formula. Future value equals present value times 1 plus r raised to the nth. And ultimately, we want r, or the rate, to end up on the side of the equation all by itself. So let's get the PV out of the way. So we're going to divide both sides by PV. And that's going to leave us with future value divided by present value equals 1 plus r raised to the nth. Now, to get rid of the exponent, we're going to multiply both sides by 1 over n. So we end up with FV divided by PV times 1 over n equals 1 plus the rate raised to the nth times 1 over n. And that leaves us with FV equals PV 1 over n equals 1 plus r. Now, if 1 plus r is the rate plus 100% of the original amount, we would need to subtract 1 from both sides. And that would leave us with FV divided by PV raised to the 1 over n minus 1 equals r, because these two 1s are going to cancel out. That's the same formula as on page 61. Now, what if we take this a step further? What if we wanted to know the number of periods or the number of terms? Of course, we're going to go back to the original equation. And to understand this part, you'll need to recall from your math course that the inverse of an exponent is a logarithm. So, just like before, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to divide both sides by the present value. And that's going to leave us with, let me get us lined up again here, FV divided by PV, and that's going to be equal to 1 plus R raised to the nth. Now, if we want the n as part of the base, which is ultimately where we will need it, we're going to have to multiply both sides by the logarithm of the base, which is log 1 plus R times future value divided by present value equals log to the base 1 plus R times 1 plus R raised to the nth. And from there, we will go, when we convert this from a log to a natural log, so we can solve it on the calculator, we're basically going to switch this to a natural log by taking this base and making it the denominator in a fraction. Same thing here. Okay. And then when we rewrite it, we end up with, if we just look at this part of the equation, we have natural log FV divided by PV divided by the natural log 1 plus R. And that takes care of the n. And that matches the formula on page 61. Now when you get to this part, you would need your calculator with your natural log button. Now if you have a good understanding of algebra and the orders of operation, you can save yourself some time by memorizing one formula and manipulating the variables. Now if you do this, it will give you a deeper understanding of finance. If you feel that you cannot do this, then you will need to memorize the formulas and each component of the formula. So in summary, one formula, future value equals present value times 1 plus R, and the more we say it, the easier it will be to remember it. Future value equals present value times 1 plus R raised to the nth. We can derive the following formulas, which are all important to your understanding of the material and to your completion of all the problems. But they all stem from one main formula.